Welcome to Harris Real Estate University Superstar Interview. Now, what is the Harris Real Estate University Superstar Interview? Every Friday here at Harris Real Estate University, we choose a top producing realtor or we choose a famous author, somebody that we know will be impactful, influential on your real estate business. Now, Harris Real Estate University has been doing these interviews now, I think, for 4 or 5 years. And we've got a huge encyclopedia of past interviews that you're more than welcome to go online, listen to at any time. Now, one of the most popular interviews we've done in the past few years has been with today's guest. Now, because so many agents have requested that we have her back, she was gracious enough to accept our invitation to have and welcome back Vicki Watzlwick.
Thank you, Tim. It's great to be back. I've helped a lot of students out there, viewers, and I look forward to helping more.
Very good. I appreciate that. So you, first of all, I have a feeling I said your last name incorrectly, or not perfectly correctly. And could you pronounce it correctly and then let them know where you sell real estate and how they can get a hold of you, and we can jump right into the questions? It's
Vicki Watzlwick. And I sell real estate northwest Chicagoland. We are 40 miles northwest of Chicago, so that is my main area.
Okay, perfect. And you've been in the real estate business. You're a broker, correct?
I'm a broker owner of an exit franchise office, yes. Very busy
good.
office.
So, yeah, exactly. How long have you been doing short sales? Because if I remember correctly, you were one of our original short sale students, weren't you?
I've been doing short sales study for almost 4 years now. Yeah, I started with you guys way back about 4 years ago. My first short sale I did, Tim, was actually a little over 12 years ago. But that things have changed dramatically. You could walk in and do a short sale with a handshake. Now it's a system. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about when your market shifted, because you being a Midwestern agent, and Julie and I were as well in Ohio, the market never really rode up in our previous market in Ohio. Now, of course, we haven't sold real estate in Ohio for quite a while, but there wasn't a real bubble to pop, and yet the Midwestern states, they certainly suffered the same pain of the deflation. What happened in your market?
We, in 2004, 2005, we were seeing 10.1% increases. So it was a very hot market here. You'd have 4 or 5 bids on a house, and then all of a sudden, overnight it seemed it didn't creep up on us, or maybe some of us brokers who were too busy planning our office or working other aspects of our business didn't pay attention to what was headed to us, and pretty soon there's less and less deals, and foreclosures are getting more and more, and, by 2007 it was, you need to change. You need to do that. You need to get on the bus and get going with the system and figure out how to survive or close your doors.
Did you see the shift coming?
2007 was a turning. We felt it slowly, but you know what? I think I was in denial. Yeah, I've been in construction and commercial real estate for 32 years, so I never would imagine that we would have such a lengthy term. You might think, this is a temporary setback for 6 months, a year. We can ride it out. Well, guess what? That didn't happen, and I don't think it's going to happen for a few more years.
Right. I mean, in your marketplace, are you seeing any signs whatsoever of real estate bottoming, let alone any sort of reappreciation? Are you seeing any signs of that?
Not at all.
Yeah, that's a pretty concise answer.
We still have, we're expected this year to have 3 times the inventory that we had last year.
3 times the inventory, and probably the makeup of the short sales and foreclosures. What last year? What percent of the sold inventory in your marketplace was distressed property? Do you know?
I just took a look at the last 90 days, and 70% of our closed deals have been short sales or foreclosures.
Wow, that's amazing. I know,
and
there was. Yeah, it is huge. There was a report that came out about a week ago, Vicki, that talked about essentially in the country, something like last month, 50%, or it's actually in December, 50% of all sales in the country, 45 or 47%, were short sales and REOs. And then in some markets, that percent is closer to 80%. So in essence, the whole market is, quote-unquote, distressed property. I mean, it's actually, this wasn't one of the questions that we prepared for, but every time I say distressed property, it kind of makes my skin crawl. Because I wonder who's really distressed in a market like that. Sure, the short sales feel some stress from it, but I wonder in the scheme of things, is the distressed owner the short sale or the REO, or is it the poor owner who's trying to compete in this marketplace and who does have equity? Where is the actual stress?
Speaking of all of the above.
Yeah, well, exactly. Well, maybe that's the answer, right? Maybe the new distressed market is the real estate market, actually. I think that's probably a better explanation than I had. So, let's talk about that emotional aspect of dealing with short sale sellers. I know a few years ago, obviously when you were introducing to your marketplace doing short sales and how agents can, well, more or less how sellers can avoid a foreclosure, the emotions, they seemed to run a little bit higher, didn't they? The people were a little bit more anxious about the process, and now there seems to be almost a level of acceptance that's settling over the real estate markets. Have you noticed that?
I have, and I think it's part of education. We've been trying to educate the public, everybody. I mean, you hear it on the news, you hear it on the internet, the letters you send out to people. Now they're coming out of their shells, talking to their neighbors. They're not as embarrassed because the household word on the street right now is short sales.
Right, exactly.
It used to be nobody knew what a short sale was, so everybody was quiet and everybody, kept to themselves and they were embarrassed. Now that you hear almost half the country next year is going to be underwater, everybody's talking about it.
Well, and so Vicki's actually pointing at a very important statistic that we broke the news on the blog now probably about a week ago, timandjulieharris.com. There's 50 million mortgages in the United States, and it's expected by the end of this year that 40% of all those mortgages are going to be upside down or underwater. But, Vicki, I remember very clearly on our first interview that one of the things we talked about was having to sort of almost coach or counsel the owners through their emotions of going through this process. But now, like you just stated, it's not really like that anymore. It's a lot less emotional. It's a lot more business-like. So that emotional aspect is it's still there, certainly, but it's not as, I think, it's not as challenging for agents. How do you help manage the seller's emotions in the process?
Well, number one, I used to tell everybody, they asked what was my number one secret into getting all these short sales closed or getting these listings. And it's usually people, you ask a short sale agent and they'll say control the BPO. I agree that wholeheartedly that is a huge factor in this equation. But I think the number one thing is you need to care. You need to care for these people. If you walk in just caring about your pocketbook and you don't give a darn if this short sale gets done or not, you're in the wrong business. So if you were to ask me today what's the number one reason I'm so good or my office is so good at short sales, I would tell you I care. So you sit down at a table with a table with somebody and you hear their heart breaking, or you feel their pain, you share their stories with them. You just don't sit there and ignore them and boom, 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 let's get the paperwork done. Well, Vicki,
you built a brokerage around working on short sales, or at least, that helped you re-energize your brokerage, becoming a short sale specialist. How do you know when you're selecting an agent for your brokerage, whether or not, what qualities do you look for in that agent to know whether or not they're actually going to be good working with short sale owners?
Well, I look for a little bit of compassion, but then I look for a type D personality. I want somebody that has confidence, that can go in and that understands that this is a system. Learn it. You're an actor. Be the script. Be the salesperson. Be compassionate with the client, but get it done. I mean, to me, it's a little bit of both. I care. I have a big heart, but I walk in and I want somebody to. It's a system. You have to have these people have their paperwork ready before you walk in the door. I'll be more than happy to come over. When I come over, Mr. Seller, here's what I need for you to have. Go through your short sales checklist that you guys provide. Everything is wonderful. I walk in, they've got their paperwork ready. I hear their story. I sit with them for a few minutes. We get the paperwork done. Voila. It's just so simple.
So what you're telling me is that you basically act as like almost a doctor, where you're saying you have to fill out these insurance forms and maybe you have to fill out this, survey to let me know what your allergies are, and this is what has to happen, and then this is, you're going to come into my office and I'm going to, tell you exactly what to do, and this is what's going to happen next. So you're totally and completely controlling the process, but in a compassionate way. Is that what you're telling me?
Exactly. I'm a professional, just like you said. A doctor's a professional, a dentist, any of those, and they want my services. I expect them to be ready for me.
Well, so I'm going to assume, Vicki, you probably always had that approach to your real estate business, but I think probably your approach maybe is more a better fit for this type of market in terms of being somebody that's going to be professional, being someone that's going to say follow the system and you'll get the result that you're after. Has the shift in like the approach to the owners, have you seen that being a struggle with a lot of your agents? Because most agents probably come from more of a mentality of tell me about that.
Not only my agents, but agents, I'm going to say throughout the Midwest here. I think we have like 54,000 agents that belong to our MLS. And I would tell you, honestly, if I had to pick a number, I would tell you 90% of these agents are afraid of short sales, afraid to show short sales. They've had a bad taste. They've done one short sale. They waited 9 months. It fell apart. So they want nothing to do. They won't even show a short sale. So it's very hard to find a good agent that understands it's a system. Once you get started with the system and follow it and keep these in the hopper, you are going to have a wonderful, wonderful year.
Well, so when you take in new agents or you talk to agents, you take new agents in your brokerage, or you talk to agents that are, just out and about, and they have bad attitudes about short sales because they heard of some problem, or because maybe, like you said, 9 months ago or 10 years ago or whatever, they experienced some odd thing. Do you try to talk them back into doing short sales, or do you just basically say, well, more opportunity for me? What's your approach?
No, you know what, Tim? I'm getting to the point where I need like 3 clones of me. I am that busy. In the past 4 days, I've taken 5 short sale listings, and when I was walking out of one of those listings, a neighbor came to me and asked if he could buy the house. I went over to his house and wrote a contract. So that is how busy I am. So I'm absolutely looking for good agents. But, I am looking for agents to understand when you first came into the market, your broker taught you how to farm an area. When you first came in the market, your broker taught you how to do FSBOs or expireds. It was a system. This is exactly that. With a little more emotion involved, of course, a little bit more compassion needed because you're going to hear some unbelievable stories. But, it's a system. Just follow the scripts, follow the paperwork, and it happens.
So what do you think is the hardest aspect of doing short sales for most agents? When someone walks into your office, wants to be an agent for you, they see the opportunity. Tell me, what is the biggest thing, the biggest challenge that most of them have in learning the process?
Procrastination. When I found you, Tim, when I found Harris Real Estate University, I was thinking about closing my office down, and then I decided, I'm going to go and investigate a couple of these short sale companies. I went on, investigated. Yours was, you didn't have to mandatory be in class on Tuesdays and Fridays. You could learn at your own pace. You guys record everything. I just went on and consumed everything like a sponge in 3 days. I spent an entire 3 days learning your system, listening to the recordings, getting my letters, getting my colored envelopes, getting everything ready that you said, and I hit the ground with 500 letters out and just run. I didn't wait. I didn't procrastinate. I can't tell you how many agents, I'm going to go look for envelopes on sale today. 2 days later, no, I didn't find any colors that I liked. Come on, just do it. So that, I think, is the biggest obstacle. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, by the way, if you're looking for paper, go to paperplus.com. And to Vicki's point, please don't ask us where to get discounted envelopes. All right.
Or what color to use.
Or
just take action, for gosh sakes. I appreciate you saying that, Vicki. You just saved us a bunch of calls.
That's right. Or created a bunch, one of the two. Well, Vicki, you touched on marketing, and that was one of the big topics everyone's interested in. Obviously, we had a call yesterday for Titanium Solutions agents, and one of our guests, Vicki, you'll appreciate this, Rodney Forms in Florida, pointed out the fact that unlike traditional sales, where most of your effort is spent generating the lead, getting the listing, essentially competing for the listing, going through all that cat and monkey show that's associated with, being a listing agent. In this end of the business, getting the, so basically it works out to be 85% of your effort is getting the business, and 15% is, closing the transaction. It's the exact opposite in this end of the business, because getting the listings, once you're doing a few, you don't even have to do that many, a few marketing things. Getting the listings is actually easy, and then a bulk of the work is spent after you get the listing. So a lot of people think that the hard part is now the easy part, and the easy part's the hard part. It's kind of interesting. Lead generators for you. What are your top lead generators?
I send out a letter, and then I usually follow up with a postcard. I've been kind of backing off on the postcards because I am so buried. Being a busy broker and carrying 62 listings of my own, it gets to be stressful. So put a word out there. Any Chicagoland agents who want to list short sales, come see me. Anyhow, thanks for letting me do that, Tim. Sorry for the plug.
Yeah, no problem. I don't mind.
So the So what I do is I send out a letter, and Coach Rochelle has a copy of that letter. I just send the letter out to, and you can get these leads, these NOD leads from your title company, whatever. I suggest to my agents, if you are looking to, and I know short sales take a while. They may take, 6 months, 8 months to get closed, depending on who the lender is. If you want a quick tip here, go to your title company. They have the NOD leads. They will give them to you for free. Ask them for, talk to somebody at Harris and find out what Tim recommends or Julie recommends to be some of the quicker companies to turn these. I do deals with Citibank, and 6 weeks, we are done. They are a wonderful company to work with. So start soliciting the city NODs in your area first until you get a little bit, a few under your belt.
Yeah, so she's pointing out some really valid points here. And first of all, she said marketing ideas. And guys, we're going to talk about that specifically. So Vicki has a letter, and this is a letter that you get part of the Accredited Short Sale Designation Coaching Program. And this letter, essentially, the essence of the letter is, Vicki, tell them the main elements of the letter and how often you use it and what kind of results you get. Because that's the main lead generator you've been using since the start, isn't it?
Absolutely. I haven't changed a thing. What I do is I print out a copy of a letter that my main points in the letter is telling people you have options. Have you try a loan mod? Have you called your lender to talk with them? Don't vacate your home. Your lender does not want you to leave your home. You'd be amazed at how many people do not understand a notice of default. They look at this notice of default. A lot of people don't speak English. They see a court date. They're supposed to be in court on May 4th, and oh my God, they think that's the day because they see this letter says it's a foreclosure letter. They think that's the day that the house is being foreclosed on, and they got to be out of there. So they pack up and they leave. So I touch a little bit on that. Don't leave. This is just the start of the foreclosure. There's plenty of time to save your house. And then I go into a little bit about what a short sale is, and it costs them nothing. That's huge. And I also tell them if their house is accepted for a half act, they could get up to $3,000 for a move-out allowance. I am seeing that so more and more on the last couple of months deals that we've closed. It's a wonderful marketing tool.
Well, absolutely it is. And here's the other thing is that, Vicki, and I'm sure you're experiencing this too, a lot of the lenders now are doing direct, they're calling it different things, but let's just say what it is. They're doing direct underwater seller outreach and trying to get the owner, prior to even speaking with the realtor, to initiate a short sale, at least start the short sale process. And they're telling the owner to submit their paperwork, and then a BPO is ordered, a price range is set, and then they're given access to a hand-selected group of agents to go about for listing the property. Now, ResNet's going to be participating in that. Titanium Solutions is participating in that. So what we're seeing is the evolution of the process where the banks at first, to Vicki's point, were a little bit resistant to do short sales. Well, in some cases a lot resistant, 4 or 5 years ago. Now it's come full circle. Lots and lots of studies and reports have come out that have basically concluded the banks lose substantially less money. Again, that's lose less money when they do a short sale versus letting it go into foreclosure, especially in a real estate market and a national economy that's still, I don't know what you want to call it, bubbling along the bottom. So the short sale process, as far as getting them closed, is becoming a lot easier. I mean, Vicki, look at the amount of paperwork that's required now versus just 24 months ago. It's so much better now, isn't it?
It is. It's gotten a lot easier.
Yeah, it has. And, things like the hardship letter. Well, you might need it for the file, but it doesn't really matter anymore for some lenders. And you have all these other explanations. And now, to Vicki's point, they're now giving owners money at closing just to agree to do the short sale. So, guys, if you're out there, and I'm speaking to probably a majority of you who have tried short sales, who have maybe heard or read that short sales are this, that, or the other, it is a process that you file. And once you get past your fears about negotiating the short sale, once you get past your fears that usually come with overcoming the seller's objections, you're home free. I mean, sellers. So, Vicki, when you get questions about, like, for example, deficiency judgments, and obviously you're not an accountant or an attorney or, anything like that, but what are the questions you get? Deficiency judgments, a 1099-C, what other types of questions do you get that typically will throw off an agent?
An agent or a client if I'm sitting with a client?
You can choose.
I usually get those kind of questions from the seller or the borrower themselves. I don't usually get those questions from agents. But they're not educated enough to talk usually about or know about taxes. They're just worried about bottom dollar. I do explain, 1099 if it's an investment property. I do explain one wonderful thing about you guys, Tim, and kudos to you. Every once in a while I'll get an email from Harris that says there's a new document, and of course I want to know what's new on the market, so those emails I open, and last week was Form 784. That's for an IRS lien, how to remove an IRS lien from your client's property. So these are tools you need in your toolbox. But, you just need to be prepared like anything else to talk with these clients. Let them know what a 1099 is. Let them know in the event that they get a 1099, there's a form that the IRS has that can waive that. So, every once in a while, we can do a strategic. If this is an investment property, we can do a strategic short sale.
That's right.
It's just like anything else. If they stay up listening to the superstars, listening to your classes, they're going to be just as knowledgeable as me in a period of months if they can act like a sponge.
What we're suggesting that agents do, and this is something you might want to adapt in your office, though I bet you already have, is come up with the list of the top 7 or 10 questions that you're going to get from a potential seller. Write them on a piece of paper along with the answers, and when you meet with the seller for the first time, literally, physically, give them the paper, right? Tell them, these are the questions I typically get from good short sale candidate owners, underwater borrowers. So these are the questions I normally get. Here's the answers, and just let them read them. And that'll
make sure they understand that they're not going to be that usually a short sale costs them nothing out of pocket. Make sure you hit that home. These people are broke, they're in distress. They need to hear that.
Well, are you seeing an increase at all in the strategic short sales? The folks that aren't broke, the folks that really aren't in distress, they're just doing it for a financial reason?
I am, and I think that's because we've gotten so well known in our area. The referrals I'm getting. I got a car dealership now. That wants to do a strategic short sale. Second property, third property, lake house, investment properties. So as the word spreads, we are seeing more and more strategic short sales.
Do you personally care whether it's a strategic or a distressed short sale? Do you care?
Absolutely not. If I know I'm going into an investment property, I am going to prepare that borrower to what is coming at him. They're going to do a short sale, but they're going to want you to participate. So you're either going to go into foreclosure and get hit by the foreclosure bus and suffer for the next 7-10 years with your credit, or you're going to work with us, and we're going to put together a little plan and strategically get the short sale done.
That's right. So, guys, there's systems to do that. Remember, she's in Illinois, so in her state, some of the things that she's referencing are specific to her state. So depending on your state laws, there's different ways to go about handling things. But as we learned from an interview we did with Alan Seelenbinder, who is the vice president at Bank of America, who's in charge of REOs and short sales for half the country, for all of Bank of America, I flat out asked him, is Bank of America planning on going after deficiency judgments? And they service loans for, I think it was 503 investors or something. And he said no. And I said, have you heard of anyone going after deficiency judgments? And he said no. So the fact is that as the landscape appears right now, there is going to be no real deficiency judgment issue, and simply for the fact that I think it just isn't feasible. It's too expensive. It doesn't make any financial sense to the investors. So I'm looking at the questions. We've got a lot of questions about more lead generation stuff. They liked your letter. So let's get into specifics. You also did the co-author short sale book with us a few years ago, correct?
I take that short sale book as the best $47 you could spend in your life. I sold 222 books on Amazon. It was real easy to do. I can buy these books on Amazon when you use them as your publisher for $3.22 a book. So I buy a couple hundred books at a time. I have them in my office. Whenever I go out on a short sale, I take them with me. What a great tool. They see my face on the back of this book, and believe it or not, I have 100% of my listing presentations that I've went to on a short sale, I've actually brought back with me. I have not lost one short sale listing.
So let's talk about what the short sale co-author book, guys. We originally came out with this a few years ago, and we limited the number of agents that could become our co-author. The new short sale book, we didn't. We made it so it was a lot easier for everyone to jump on board. And, Vicki, we've updated all the information and stuff. So make sure you get with Rochelle about getting the updated files and updated the cover. And so what this is, guys, is it's a book. Now, you can use it as Vicki just said. You can use it as a listing tool. You can sell it on Amazon. You can have actual hard copies printed and give it out. The point is that Julie and I were thinking to ourselves, and this is back in 2007, we were thinking, how can we help make it so that our agents can truly set themselves aside as an expert? And we were in the midst of writing a book that was going to get published, and we were going to get paid for it, the whole 9 yards of writing a book. And so we decided to tell our publisher that we didn't want to, move forward with publishing the book, and we wanted to do it ourselves, and we wanted to make it so that the students could co-author it with us. So bottom line, on the webinar right now, guys, there's a button that says Be My Co-Author. You'll go to the co-author short sale book, and if you use the discount code, as it says there on the screen, of co-author, you're going to get a discount of, it's over 50% on the book. So check that out. The discount code, again, is co-author. So after this interview, please go click that button and go and watch the video, understand what it's all about. It really worked out to be probably one of the best listing tools ever, because when you walk into a listing presentation and you show them that you wrote a book, it's called Should I Short Sale My Home, that right there is going to set you out as an expert more than any, let's just be honest, designation or anything else you can possibly come up with, because of the fact that, authors generally speaking are seen as experts. So this is something every one of you should do. Every agent that's in our short sale class should definitely consider becoming one of our co-authors. It's very easy. The process is so simple now. You will have your picture on the book cover. You will have your name on the book cover. You can add content to it if you'd like. You can add your bio to it if you'd like. Whatever you want to add to it, you can. We ask you not to change the content too much because it has been proofed and checked for accuracy and the rest of it. But again, hit that button, check it out. If it's for you, use the coupon code co-author, and you'll get it for more than 50% off. Yes, Julie, I got his co-author discount. I said that right. Okay, so let's move forward. Now, yes, Julie. Julie, nothing? Okay.
Let me talk a little bit more about some other another thing that I've done that gets me a whole lot of leads, Tim. You see these billboards around town. Well, here in the Midwest, they're kind of expensive. They're about $2,000 a month. I took that $2,000. I have a silver convertible Volvo, and I went and had it wrapped to the tune of about $1,800. My car is wrapped with rainbow colors, a crazy guy on the side holding some bills. His hair is standing up. His tie is flying. He's on my website. He's kind of, we call him my company mascot. I don't put my picture out there. I put this crazy guy in all the bills, and you'd be amazed with how many calls I get off of my car. Our phone number's on there. My website's on there, Bigger Than Life. It might be tacky, but let me tell you, you ask anybody in my county who's number one or who does short sales, they're going to tell you.
Because they're definitely not missing the Volvo that's driving around looking like, a rolling billboard. So that's a good idea.
You got it. Hot pink, purple, yellow. It is, we call it the Skittle-mobile.
Well, but Vicki, I bet you after all this time, after all these people you've helped, you're doing a lot of, for example, how many letters are you mailing per month?
Oh, it varies every week. We do our letters religiously every Monday. We pull down the notice of default list. Some days there might be 30, other days there might be 110.
Okay.
So I'd say 50 might be an average.
Has your, I'd venture a guess at this point with as many short sale listings as you're taking, a good bit of your business is coming from past clients, repeat clients maybe in some cases. How are you going about
50%.
soliciting that business?
More than 50%. Yeah.
How are you going about soliciting that business?
Just like anything else, you need to ask. You need to ask for the business. When you're at the closing table or you're wrapping it up, and at the closing, these people are so relieved, and you will hear that time over time, that, oh, my God, you saved us, and thank you, and they cry and they hug you. It's such a wonderful feeling. But while you're there, by the way, do you know any of your other neighbors that are, that are going through hard times that I could possibly give a call and help? Ask for the business.
Now, so you can alter what she said when asking for business depending on your market. If you're in Newport Beach, Vicki, we've got somebody who's essentially carving out a nice little niche of really expensive, like $1, $2, $3 million strategic short sale sellers, because they've been asking the question, not who do you know is experiencing a hardship, but basically who do you know that has underwater property that they want to do a strategic, essentially a strategic liquidation on. And they're working it at a very high level and saying the short sale is going to be confidential, and, basically as if you were going about trying to list property in a normal market with those upper end types. the same type of approach, and it's working. So depending on your marketplace, guys, there's opportunity in all price ranges. Don't just make the assumption that short sales are only for the lower-end distressed owners. Well, I mean, Vicki, I'll just ask you. In your marketplace, have you seen a shift, the number of people or the types of people that are calling you, the types of listings you're taking?
Yes. The upper-end people, though, Tim, if I've got $1 million house, these people are very educated. These people have a lot more pride. These people are not going to be sharing with you names of their friends, neighbors. Some of them won't even allow you to put a sign in front of their yard. It is a lot harder. I mean, the minute you get over $450,000, at least here in the Midwest, you've lost 98% of the public. Only 2% of the public can afford that place.
Well, so she's talking about buyers now, but that's a good point.
Yeah. So working with those types of upper end sales or strategic short sales, you're not going to get the amount of referrals you would from a $250,000 or $100,000 client.
So you're getting your notice of default list from your title or escrow company, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and so agents, depending on your marketplace, you might be able to get your notice of default list from your closing attorney, your title company like Vicki does. Vicki, are you finding more success in contacting the owners that are maybe more than 30 days or 60 days late? So there's there's the fresh notice of defaults. Well, in your marketplace, how many house payments are they missing before they get a notice of default?
90 days.
90 days. Okay,
I only
so that answers my
contact
question.
people who are 90 days or more, because then I can say, and my letter starts out, I notice per public record that your house is in pre-foreclosure, you've been served a notice of default. So public record, that's the key. So I can solicit people who are 60 days late, but for some reason those leads don't seem to be as good as the 90-day ones.
In the 30-day leads for agents that are out there listening, trying to put together their own marketing plan to go after this business, the 30 days are almost worthless because in many cases those people just, they'll say, well, I just forgot to miss the payment. And then when you call the 60-day ones, it's, well, I forgot to miss 2 payments, or I'm talking to my bank about, this or that, or, something else. And then the 90 days, those guys are the ones that are actually really realizing that they have to sell the house and are looking at their options.
And when
Vicki,
you have a 90-day notice of default, in most mortgages, especially here, you have a due on sale clause. So you'll hear these stories, well, I sent in a partial payment and they sent it back. That's right, because the minute you hit 90 days, they have to call the entire mortgage due. So that's huge.
How long in your marketplace? Oh, no, I understand completely what you're saying.
Okay.
And again, guys, it depends on your state laws. In your marketplace, how many months can someone stay in a house without making a payment realistically?
Legally, 11. My longest is 27 months right now.
Right. We have folks in Florida and New York State who have owners that are in the houses for 2 and 3 years. We've heard of some in Ohio where they're listing them where the people have been in the house for closing on 4 years with making no payment just because the foreclosure process is so backed up. So an interesting little fact for all of you, in the more expensive areas, oddly enough, the higher-end homes, those owners can stay in the homes or are staying in the homes. We're not telling you to go out and market this, by the way. We're just giving you some facts, right? But they're able to stay in the home longer because the banks are less motivated to take those properties back because they know they're harder to sell. So the market's shifting that the more expensive type properties, and more expensive is really dependent on your market. It could be $200,000 or it could be $2 million. Those properties are becoming some of the better short sales to be going after just because the banks are more cooperative than, say, a house that they know will sell with competing investors. So, Vicki, in your marketplace right now, working with short sales, what's the biggest challenge? Where are you facing that's really kind of stymieing you?
Finding agents that understand short sales or that will show short sales. I think there's a big need here for that. That's my biggest issue.
Basically overcoming.
You'll get an offer from a short sale agent. You'll have them sign a short sale rider that we make, an addendum that states that this short sale is going to take a minimum of 12 weeks, and I'll be darned if 30 days later they want out of the deal. You really need to educate the buyer's agents on your short sales.
How are you overcoming the loan mod question, right? Do you get a lot of that? A lot of folks saying, well, I'm going to try a loan mod first?
I do, and what I tell them is, you need to be recovering from a hardship. So I'm just going to touch on this real fast, if you don't mind, Tim.
Sure.
I do simple math with them, and I make them understand why their loan mod most likely is going to be denied. I'll say you owe $360,000 on your house. Let's just say Bank of America is going to give you 0% interest for the first few years, or forever. So we do multiply $360,000 by 360 payments. That's a 30-year mortgage. You come up with $1,000 a month. Your taxes are $800 a month. Now we're at $1,800 a month. So if the bank were to forgive every dime of the interest, you still can't make. You have to be making 3 times that $1,800 to qualify. You don't. You're only making $2,500. So they're not going to approve a loan mod.
That's right. And the other thing is, and and I know the loan mod objection is still something that is a challenge for a lot of agents, but Vicki just gave you a great script to overcome it. But here's some more ideas, just real simple ones. First of all, you got to know what a loan mod is and isn't. What it isn't is most times getting rid of the negative equity. So if you just ask an owner what their goal is from pursuing the loan mod, most times they're going to say, well, we want a lower payment. But then you got to give them the backstory. Okay, well, they might, as Vicki just said, give you a temporarily lower payment. But did you know that negative equity is still on the mortgage? In other words, that loan mod is not doing anything about the fact you're $200,000 upside down. And, oh, by the way, they might forgive the interest or not charge you the interest or, basically cut your payment. They might do that for a year or 2 years, maybe 3. But did you know the amount that they weren't charging gets tacked on to the mortgage balance? So, it's really amazing when you really peel back the layers on these loan mods. They're not really helping anybody. They're not really doing anybody any favors. Yeah.
Last week we had done... Go ahead, Tim.
No, go ahead.
Last week we had a loan mod approved, and it was actually a 45-year loan mod. The bank took the loan mod out 45 years. So who's winning here? And you need to make your client understand that. Geez, did you get anything? No. Your house is upside down. You're probably not good. It's probably not going to be what it's worth for another 7 to 10 years.
If
so
ever.
You're struggling. Yeah. So you are struggling, and now they've added another 15 years to your loan.
When someone doesn't list a house with you as a short sale, they decide not to go that route. And I know it doesn't happen that often, but why? Why would you lose a potential short sale listing?
I have never lost one.
I knew you were going to
say
that.
I am sorry.
Well, but the fact is there's really no good reason. I cannot honestly think. Now, if there was an attorney on the other end of the line, they might tell us maybe some reasons why if someone has a real complicated financial and legal life, how, the foreclosure might create some, I don't know, complicated stuff that I'll never understand. But, guys, there is really no reason why anybody should be losing a house to a foreclosure when they could do a short sale. For example, when you buy a house, when the owner does a short sale, in some cases, guys, if they didn't miss any payments, they can buy a house right after the short sale. Now, there's all kinds of other little hanging, conditions on that, but that's something that you can't certainly do with the foreclosure. Well, here's something else you might not know. Now, I'm apprehensive to talk about Fannie Freddie because new regulations are coming out today, but here's the other thing. When you do a short sale, you can get back in the home buying mode unless they've changed it in 24 months, whereas depending on what kind of mortgage you get, who the guarantor is, who the bank is, and all the rest of it, with a foreclosure, it's 5 or 7 years. So if someone decides to be a homeowner again, if you ask the owners these questions, well, can you see yourself buying a home again? They'll say yes, of course, usually, and you'll say, well, how soon? How soon do you think you'd want to be buying a home? Well, how soon can I? Well, if you go the foreclosure route, it's going to be 5 or 7 years. If you do a short sale, it could be immediately, depending on your situation. Did you miss any payments? Your overall situation, was the short sale just because something out of your control, like a forced job transfer, that sort of thing? If you do have to wait, did you know that it's literally half the time that if you let the house go to foreclosure or a deed in lieu of foreclosure? So, to Vicki's point, there's no reason once you understand the process and once you understand how to overcome the objections, there's no reason why you cannot list every single owner you meet with. Is a short sale a good solution to every underwater homeowner, Vicki? No.
It all depends on their circumstances. If you've got somebody that's got a lot of liquid, they're going to have to participate in this. This is for people who are struggling and who have a hardship. But for the most part, I would say, 98% of the people I help, definitely, it's their only option other than foreclosure.
Right. And again, banks are changing that the mentality and their approach with regards to hardships. We are on the phone with this Bank of America executive, and really at the end of the day, and they are coming around to realizing that if the house goes to a strategic foreclosure and it goes back to the bank, well, they're going to lose more money than if they were to allow someone to do a short sale strategically and not require any financial contribution whatsoever. So again, these are all the types of little moving parts that you have to learn. But again, it's not difficult. At the end of the day, you're going to get maybe 7, maybe 10 typical objections or questions, things you're really going to have to master. And once you do that, you're going to be a short sale listing machine. And you're going to start hearing. I mean, when Julie and I go on, we don't list real estate anymore. But when you go on walks or you go to Starbucks, or you're sitting on a plane and you start hearing people talk about real estate, you're going to hear them talking about short sales and REOs, and you're just not even going to be able to stop yourself from interjecting yourself into the conversation just because you want to help and frankly, you can help. And that's a real incredible feeling of confidence. Vicki, when you take a new agent...
Go ahead, Tim.
Go ahead. Well, I was going to say, when you take a new...
influence...
when you take it, there's a delay. Don't worry about it. When you take in new agents and you give them these tools and you give them that confidence, that ability to feel confident, that must totally and completely turn their lives around professionally, at least.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I brought somebody in who's done 58 short sales in a period of 6 months. So you can just do the math yourself. It's a system. It is just so simple. Just follow the system.
That's right. So what has surprised you so far? This is an interesting question, I think. But what surprised you, being the fact that you are ahead of the curve in your marketplace, you are a leader in your marketplace, you are a top producer in the nation. What has surprised you the most about your real estate market in this correction phase? Anything?
That it is continuing to get worse. I really honestly felt that this year was going to be the last, but here we are. I talked to somebody at Freddie the other day and Bank of America, and they tell me we are going to be buried this year and next year. So surprise right. that and the inability of the agents to adapt to this market.
Well. Why do you think they have an inability? You use the word inability. Do you think it's an inability or just a stubbornness or a denial that, we're in this market for a long term?
I think it's their denial. People laughed at me 2 years ago when I said we're going to be in this for another 2 or 3 years. They all thought, yeah, right, whatever. But I think a lot of these realtors have hung up their hats because they're so frustrated, or, you do a bad short sale and you get a bad taste in your mouth. They can't let one bad apple, ruin the whole bunch.
Well, no doubt.
They just got to get educated on the system.
Back in when you were just doing traditional real estate, when short sales and REOs weren't so dominant, are you saying you never had a normal listing go south or a normal buyer go south? I mean, did that sour you to real estate just because you lost a listing, or you went on a listing appointment and they hired somebody else? Did you walk out saying, I'll never try to list a house again? It is kind of funny, the mindset issue that agents have.
It is. And once you get used to doing short sales in your community, the other agents learn to respect you, and they know. You need to put systems in place. We have a short sale team within the office now. We have, short sale software. I'm carrying 62 listings. I just listed another 3 yesterday. I'm not going to have 65 buyers agents calling me and asking me for updates. So we have a, computer software system. They can log in anytime during the day. Read the comments on what my short sales department is, talks to the negotiators twice a week. They call on every file. They can log in and read, and they don't have to bother me. So there are tools that make this system so simple. I mean, it's not a whole lot different for me than going out and listing a regular sale. A little bit more time because I'm a little bit more compassionate. I want to hear their story and, treat them like a friend. But this versus it used to take me, my average was 4 hours for a listing. I'd say about 6.
Well, so that's the amount of time you have devoted to the listing all in. So as far as software, as far as systems, as far as all of that, we have this, a lot of agents will get started doing short sales, and I think they have to get all that, they have to figure out their software systems and their forms and all that. That's not the first thing you should be doing. The first thing you should be doing is listen to Vicki. Go out there and mail your letters. Get your marketing going. Vicki, here's something, I'm sure you know about this, but we have a lot of agents across the country that are having great success running Craigslist ads. There's some tricks that Kim and Chris have sort of figured out from doing it for themselves in their own real estate practice that we have agents now that are getting just huge responses from running these very specific Craigslist ads during very specific times of the week and days of the week. You know, basically, guys, all of you are in the class here. It is Friday. You know that you should be running your Craigslist ads this afternoon because that's going to get you the greatest response. Don't change the ads. Use the ads that Kim and Chris and Julie wrote for you, and those are the ads that you use. And so there's so many ways to generate leads right now. The leads are not difficult to get. And if you're apprehensive, if you're procrastinating to actually do some of this stuff because you're not going to know what you do when you get the lead, just use the pre-qualification script that we give you and ask the questions. It is a very, very simple process. You can build your systems. You can have your own short sale staff. You can add agents and buyer agents and all the rest of it as you build your listing inventory. I mean, Vicki, how many active listings? I mean, how many in your business? How many homeowners do you think you'll help this year, if you had to guess?
Oh my goodness, we're into February and I have 65.
Okay, so you didn't have.
Our market's supposed to troubled homes, and we're supposed to triple in inventory. So I would imagine my business will at least triple over last year's, so several hundred.
Yeah, it should. So, but when you started with us doing short sales a few years ago, you didn't have really probably any short sale listings, or maybe a few. I imagine you did.
None.
Yeah, okay, any.
Not
so
a one.
This is something you've built over time, and you said you have new agents that are joining your office, and because they have the advantage of having you, they're able to take short sale listings right away, and they're able to, obviously build their own personal inventories a lot faster. It's not difficult. I mean, when you do have agents that struggle, where is it that they struggle? When you have new agents join your brokerage and you're telling them how to go about doing short sales, some of them get it, some of them don't. The ones that don't get it, why?
And it's all personality, I think, Tim. I've got an agent that has the alphabet soup after his name. He's got his CDPE, he's got his luxury CDPE, he has got his ABR and his, just ABC soup. The man hasn't closed one deal in 12 months, but he has went to 12 different classes. So it's hard to really get to understand those types of personality. At least it is for me. It's a system. Here, I've given you a checklist. This is what I want you to do every Monday. Send out this letter. It's that simple. The phone's going to ring. If you've got a good broker, that can mentor you, go out with them on a couple listing presentations. Just pick it up. Just listen to them, and then go back to the office and role play with your broker. It should be that simple.
It is important that you show the owners that you have education. It is important that you can tell them that you've got more education than just someone who walked into the front door. So the designations, to Vicki's point, the designations don't replace action. I think that's really what she's saying.
Absolutely.
You cannot sit in a classroom, even our designations, guys, you cannot sit in our classrooms, our virtual classrooms, and learn about the short sale process and really expect to earn any money, because you won't. You actually have to take action. And I would rather have all of you who join Harris Real Estate University now and listening to this call into the replay, all the future students, I'd much rather have you guys honestly skip every single class, listen to it in replay, just take massive actions running the ads, getting the leads, and learning as you go. And use us as your reference along the way. Listen to the calls and replay. So many agents think that they're going to find their success, to Vicki's point, by getting the alphabet soup of designations. Education is obviously important. The more you learn, the more you earn, but it will never replace action. It will never replace actually being out there talking with an owner, being on the phone talking with an owner. So don't confuse the two, and I really appreciate you saying that, Vicki. So,
and don't be a secret agent. You guys got get on Facebook. Put up your profile. In your profile, it should say something about short sales in your neighborhood, foreclosures in your neighborhood. 92% of all people last year who bought a home looked it up on the internet first. These people are internet techie friendly. Now we're going to mobile data. So you need to have these accounts, Craigslist, Facebook, any type of social, Twitter, YouTube. Make a quick little video on one of your houses, and in that story, mention that you're the short sale expert in your neighborhood. So many of my agents, it kills me when I find out that their brother or sister listed with somebody else because they did not know that my own agents have short sale experience. Well,
that's right. And here's the other thing, guys. How many of you in your marketplaces right now have short sales that are showing up as expireds, right? expired short sales are some of the best, assuming they have enough time to get the property sold, some of the best listings because someone's already at least talked them into the process. And after that, guys, it's usually just a function of price. You get it priced right, and then after that, it's going to sell, again, assuming that all the other conditions are right. This is not difficult. It's not like it was in the past where you have to go in there and give them a cat and monkey show and song and dance and promise them you're going to do realtor tours and promise them you're going to do open houses. And it's not like that. They don't fight with you about your marketing. They don't fight with you. Well, Vicki, commissions, are those an issue for you anymore?
Not at all.
Okay, so they don't fight with you about your commissions. They don't fight with you about the marketing, the open houses, what kind of sandwiches you're going to have at the realtor tour, all those usual kind of ridiculous things that realtors are conditioned to having to do as part of a retail business, not around in this space. Right now,
I go out with a manila
professional.
folder. I don't even use my pretty foil folders. I go out with a manila folder, that short sale package in there, my book in my hand, and I walk in. So I am not there to do a song and dance and to leave them with all this marketing material and the list of websites I'm putting them on. It doesn't happen.
That's right, exactly. So it's completely and totally different. So, Vicki, going forward, right, as you look forward into your real estate market, maybe overall in the housing economy, right? There's a lot of changes that we see coming with financing. I don't know if you're up on all the Fannie Freddie stuff that's being talked about, but there seems to be a conversation going on that we're moving away from an ownership society. The home ownership rate now is back to 1998, right? Whereas the peak of it was in 2007. So essentially, all the gains that we made in helping homeowners become, owners over the last decade plus, getting wiped out, completely gone. Do you think that we're moving back to, say, the way it was maybe in the early 90s, mid-80s, in that era, where home ownership was something that people aspired to, but maybe only 50% ever accomplished? Do you see a big shift happening? Do you feel it?
I do, because I feel that because everybody I talk to, I mentioned to them they can buy another house, in a couple of years. I got a nurse a house 6 months out of a short sale, but they're all so, I think, hurt or bent that they didn't get a loan mod done or whatever their reason was. They tried to work with their bank, that they don't care if they ever own another house. So, right now, 57% of my two towns here, sales in the past year have been by investors. So, yes, I definitely think we're going back that way.
Yeah, we're experiencing that across the country. I hear that from students. It was in Vegas had a report last week that something like 75% of all their sales last quarter were cash sales to mostly out-of-country investors. And those guys are going there and buying for the long-term buy and hold. So there is a shift happening. Don't fight against it, agents. Don't struggle with it. Just accept it. There's nothing wrong with people renting. Renters are not second-class citizens. I know that's kind of the mindset that if you rent, somehow you're not as good as, but you got to lose that mindset. And believe it or not, in a lot of cases, you're going to have to probably learn how to do some property management, because that's going to become one of the things that going forward probably a lot of your owners are going to be looking for as an agent that can maybe manage the property for them or sell it or things like that. So you're going to have to open up your mind to the new reality. Younger folks, baby boomers, kids, people that are now probably the oldest group is going to be in their early 30s, their mindset about home ownership, because they've seen so many people, their family, their friends, their parents, maybe even go through a lot of pain from owning a home, they're not going to want to buy again, to Vicki's point. So open up your mind, realize that all the rules about real estate really have shifted, and be excited when you have the tools to really be part of the change, be part of the shift. So I'm sort of curious, Vicki, you've been successful when a lot of other people aren't. You were able to shift and become, really build a huge real estate brokerage where you're making lots and lots of money, helping lots and lots of people. Why you? What makes you so special? What is it about, Vicki that we can kind of maybe bottle and sell as an energy drink?
I contribute all of this to confidence and learning. I took your program. I just threw myself into it. I was at a do-or-die stage. I had just bought my office franchise 2 years prior, so here I am, a 2-year new broker owner with all these agents thinking, oh, my God, I'm going to have to close my doors. I have to do something. I have to try something. And for $99 a month, oh, my God, you were it. You guys put me on the map, and here I am, and I thank you for that.
Well, we
so
thank
it's
you,
confidence.
too.
If you had to bottle anything, it's confidence. But I think confidence comes from, you can role play. You do a few of these and you get them done, you're going to have the same confidence that I have. But you have to do it. You have to get through a few of them.
Well, exactly. And even your most, analytical type realtor or for us coaching client, the only way you're going to overcome some of your fears that you have is when you actually move forward and put yourself into action. So an interesting homework challenge for all of you out there, especially those of you who are in the coaching program. Run a Craigslist ad today, okay? Run a Craigslist ad, get some homeowners, some distressed owners calling you. Use our script, set a listing appointment. Actually put yourself into action. Make yourself a little uncomfortable. Be okay moving forward, not knowing it all. What's going to happen is you will learn on the job, and that's good, okay? Learning on the job, there's nothing wrong with that. You will hit some stumbling blocks. You will have some issues and some challenges. You will maybe even be caught with a question that you don't know the answer to. Be okay with that, and don't let that be your excuse to not move forward. We are here with you. We are here for you. Okay? The reference material that you have on the website is nuts. So there's no reason for you not to go there and use all of it any time. So, Vicki, we had a lot of questions. So the way you guys pronounce her last name is Watzlwick. Watzlwick. Okay? And so, Vicki, what's your website?
You go to exitplatinumrealty.com, exitplatinumrealty.com.
Okay, good. Todd Anderson Prescott, where do I find the letters and postcards that Vicki used? They are on the website, harrisrealestateuniversity.com. If you cannot find them, of course, just chat up customer service and they'll point you in the right direction. Let's see. Okay, I'm going through
other
questions.
On my postcards, for 2 seconds, Tim, on my postcards, guys, I send out 5 postcards. I try to touch on every personality. People who are depressed, I try to cheer them up. I try humor. I try, personalities like mine, where I'm called a double D. I just simple, steamroll it, get it done. So those are how I made my postcards. I try to touch on every personality.
Okay. Yeah, well, so, the DISC personality types are what you're talking about. And and you've experienced the fact that people are, some of them are going to be wanting to have their hand held. So how do you change that in your marketing? Give us more information on that.
Meaning, such as one of my postcards is humorous. I don't understand your question.
Yeah, exactly. Tell us what you're doing differently on the postcards. What types of postcards, how do you change your approach on the postcards? What seems to work, what doesn't work?
Well, it all depends on the personality. I've got 5 different cards, and I send them to every homeowner. So one is, Vicki's job is to put a smile back on your face, and there's a checklist of how I'm going to do that. Another is a joke, get people laughing. Another is, did you realize your time clock's, running out? Get it done now. You're going to be foreclosed on in a matter of 90 days. So, and that's pretty harsh. But I don't know the personalities they're going through. Everybody's getting these 5 cards, but I'll be darned if every once in a while, I had a sheriff walk into my office. She was carrying around one of my postcards for 4 months before she got the courage to walk in my door.
Yeah,
so these things work. And business cards are wise. If you send a business card with your letter, they can put that in their wallet. They're going to throw the letter away most likely, but at least they're holding on to that. And you will get
I have a few questions. I'm sifting through the questions. Someone said, we do use the term strategic short sale on these calls and in our coaching to replace the word strategic default because we want you, agent students, to realize that really a short sale is their best solution. So when they Google, for example, strategic short sale, if you've been talking about it on your website, if you've been talking about it publicly, maybe done a press release, used our press release that becomes part of the coaching program, then you're going to get a lot of that traffic. Strategic short sale is a term that we coined here at HREU. Use it because it is going to be a term that you're going to be hearing a lot of people talk about because it is what the banks want people to do, short sales. And, of course, we already know that there's millions of people that are considering being strategic, so just put the two together. So if you haven't heard it before, that's why. More questions about strategics. Again, we're not going to talk about short sale questions specifically, but really the bottom line is listen to the interview we did with the Bank of America executive, and he said that they don't care whether they're strategic or not. Okay, he did say more or less that's what he said. So listen to that interview. Pursue everyone. Go after every opportunity you have to help anyone avoid a foreclosure. Okay, so Tracy from Las Vegas, you asked a question, why would an owner go into foreclosure if there's no deficiency judgment being pursued? Because Tracy from Las Vegas, there is going to be a deficiency judgment possibly being pursued if it's a foreclosure or a deed in lieu of foreclosure, okay? So the reason that they want to do a short sale versus a deed in lieu or foreclosure is because they can buy again quicker, because they can sometimes have the threat of a deficiency judgment removed from the final acceptance letter, and as Vicki pointed out, because they can sometimes now get an actual check at closing. But the biggest reason, Tracy, and everyone else, that I think people go with a short sale versus a foreclosure is because they control the process. They're not just going to have somebody posting notices on their door and telling them to get out. There's not going to be a sheriff pounding on their door, things like that. It's a graceful exit opposed to a forced exit. I think that's really, I mean, Vicki, when I was going through those reasons, is there anything else you can think of?
Buying time for your clients. I mean, if they've got to go out and get a rent with an option, you might be able to afford them an extra 4, 5, 6 months in that house. That's another call that you need to make, and a way you can help these clients.
A lot of people are asking questions as I go through these questions about the co-author book. I do want you guys to contribute some content to it. You can write a preface for the book. You can, obviously contribute something that's specifically geared to your market. This book is general information about the short sale process, but if you have some specific information about your state or your community, that's your contribution. That way, as someone pointed out, you are indeed co-authoring the information for us. By the way, FYI, a lot of you don't know this, but a lot of the most famous authors in the world that call themselves authors don't write their own books, okay? So most of them are literally paying somebody else to write their material for them. Same goes with presidential speeches and everybody else. So, call it what you will. All right, so someone asked, Lynn Martin says, regarding the co-author book, it's $97 for each hard copy book. No. What happens, Lynn, is when you become a co-author, you get the files for the short sale book. Now, that means literally you're going to get digital files of all the content. Then what I want you to do is use the gal who I hired to design the book cover for me. Use her to add your picture, your name, and basically the cover. She'll finish the cover design. She doesn't charge very much, okay, like $25 or something. Julie, did you just climb?
That information is included. I just wanted to let you know that comes along with the book files. And there's also a document called 23 Different Ways to Utilize the Book.
Right. So, guys, the point of it is that the short sale co-author book, it's essentially the material done for you, and then what you can do, like what Vicki did, she posted on Amazon. You can then print hard copies if you choose to. Some people give it away on their websites. Really, what I would do if I were you is go ahead and have Karen, that graphic artist person, finish out the cover for you. Again, all that information is when you buy the book. And then take an actual physical copy of the book, like Vicki said, to your listing appointments. Maybe if you want to, you can print some out and give them to people. This is a huge opportunity for you to position yourself as an expert in your community. You can get, for example, we wrote a press release for you. So it's part of the co-author book. So the website is BeMyCoauthor.com, BeMyCoauthor.com, and the discount code that you can use is co-author, and that will get you the book for more than half off. Or you can just click that button that's right there on the webinar, and you can learn more about that. So, guys, definitely want to take advantage of that. I think it's kind of a no-brainer, especially for the price. All right,
and you don't have to give away the book. If you just walk in with the book, with your picture on a book about short sales, that's all it's going to take. Just tell them this is your last copy. If they'd like a copy, you can get them a copy. You don't have to buy hundreds of books.
No, you don't. And matter of fact, I don't even think I want you to. I want you to have one book printed and used exactly like Vicki said. That way it'll save yourself some money. You can then, as Vicki has done, as many others have done or are doing, you can then post it on Amazon, and you can sell it for whatever price you want to sell it for. You could sell it for a penny. You could sell it for $10. It doesn't really matter. The point of it is that this is an opportunity for you to say, listen, this is who I am, this is what I've done, and that's really going to make an impression on somebody more than, virtually anything else. Can you think of anything else that's really going to impress a seller more than being a co-author of a book? I mean, I certainly can't. That's the reason we did it for you guys. All right, so does HREU have the short sale letters that Vicki is referring to? Rochelle, Julie?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I thought so.
Yes.
All right. I'm going through the rest of the questions. Where's the book to co-author? Kathy from Ann Arbor, Michigan. Hi, Kathy. Click the button on the webinar or just go to BeMyCoauthor.com. Remember, use the discount code co-author on checkout. It'll save you a lot of money. Okay, good. Kathy said she found it. All right, I'm looking through the rest of my questions. Rita from Atlanta, just call the office, 866-422-9497. All right, Julie, are there any other questions I didn't answer? A lot of specific questions I think that Vicki actually covered in great detail on this call.
I just wanted to clarify several different things because we've mentioned a lot of different websites. So if you want to see more on Vicki, how to spell her last name and where she's located, her information is on our blog as well, timandjulieharris.com. Your class information, those of you who are in our short sale and REO classes and Agent Tech Secrets, scripts and prospecting, whatever you're involved in, the class information is at harrisrealestateuniversity.com, and the book website is BeMyCoauthor.com. I just wanted to clarify because there's a lot of website questions floating around here, Tim.
Right. Well, okay, that's true. Thank you for doing that. And also, if you're on the webinar, just click that button. We're about to wrap this interview up, and then you guys can then learn about being a co-author. Vicki, do you think the co-author book's your best listing tool or your best marketing piece? Or, I mean, has it evolved to be that important for you?
It is the best closing piece, I think. You have to get into the door. So you get yourself into the door if you're going and you're not as confident as I am, and you've got this book upside down with your picture on it. I mean, there's not many questions these borrowers are going to ask you. They think you're an expert. You've got the book there. You know, you wrote the book.
That's right. There you go. Or you co-authored the book, right?
Right. It's still part of writing, right?
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true.
Yep.
Exactly. That, you know, when you listen to President Obama give one of his speeches, you guys think he wrote that himself? No.
And send it to your local newspapers. Send a shout-out to the local radio stations. You know, they're going to come. They need news. They need happening news. They're going to take a picture of your book with you and put it on in the newspaper. And, I mean, that's going to start, you know, people getting notoriety in the town that you're a short sale agent.
That's right. Well, we actually wrote a press release, had a press release writer, and then Julie and I tweaked it a little bit for the short sale book. So when they buy the new short sale book, the BeMyCoauthor.com short sale book, they actually get a done for them press release, and all they have to do is drop their name in there. And then we also included information, guys, on specifically how to do a press release. So where you can submit it if you wanted to do it yourself, or if you wanted to have somebody do the work for you, you can do that too. So this is really kind of a complete system, the co-author book. It's a lot of fun. I think some of you are going to be surprised when you do it, what kind of results and what kind of calls and what kind of leads that generates. Again, a lot of you, I can tell, reading the questions, the fact that you have to take action is what really resonated with you on this call. And that's what Vicki is really all about. I mean, Vicki was one of the first students, I think, in the country really to take this and build a huge brokerage around it, our information, our system. She's certainly one of the top short sale agents in the nation right now. She's been an inspiration not just in her local marketplace, not just to her agents, but to a lot of agents nationwide. Guys, this real estate market, our industry, it can be about opportunity. It doesn't have to be about fear. It doesn't have to be about lack. It can be about the fact that this is a new start for all of you. I mean, this has been a new start for Vicki. You heard her say that she's questioning what she should do with her real estate brokerage, and she sees the opportunity. That only happens when you seize the opportunity and you take action with the information. Vicki, I'll let you wrap the call up. I mean, you're very motivational. Is there anything that comes to mind thinking about all the hundreds and potentially thousands of realtors that are out there listening to this? Anything you'd like to pass along?
Yeah, don't give up. Just get the letters. Just take it step by step. Don't get overwhelmed. You don't have to be a professional, an attorney. You don't have to know all the ins and outs. You will learn them as you go. Just get it done. Get the letters out every Monday religiously. Just do it. I mean, that is, get on the bus and do it. It's a step-by-step process, and Tim and Julie have it all called out for you. It's a miracle. It absolutely is.
So, well, thank you for that. So everyone out there listening to this call live and in replay, please take action on this information. Do as Vicki does, right? Don't, just take action. Take massive action. Take more action in your real estate business than maybe some of you have ever, right? Do more stuff between now and Monday. Run more Craigslist ads. Participate in the co-author book. Take massive action, and you will create massive results. If you get overwhelmed by the action you take, good. Okay? Seriously. If you get overwhelmed, I'm thinking of Regina.
Send a smoke signal. We will be here. Regina can attest to that, right?
Regina in San Jose, it was really great. We had her on the short sale call this last week. She ran, I think, 1 or 2 Craigslist ads, and she had something like 30, wasn't it 31?
50 responses.
How 50. Many? 50?
Yeah. 50 calls.
All right, so she had 50 responses from the Craigslist ads. But I remember she called you, was it last Friday, Julie, and she said her question to you was
what? We're there,
what?
man.
Now
what
do
I
question
do, basically?
Yeah, she had all these leads and she didn't know what to do with them because she'd never had that many leads before. That is the kind of problem that every single one of you
create a nice problem to
have.
We'll help you wade through it. Trust me.
That's right. So, guys, hopefully you've got the energy from this call, and I sincerely appreciate the fact that a lot of you have come to Harris Real Estate University realizing that this is your opportunity. This is your market. This is you're getting back to the real core, the essence of why you got into real estate in the first place, and that was to help people. That's the vibe I get from Vicki. That's what she radiates to me. Yes, she's got a brokerage. She's making lots of money, and she's very successful. But I get the feeling that she sincerely cares. That feeling of caring, guys, it comes from the fact that she knows she's making a difference in the marketplace, and you can too. So, Vicki, I want to sincerely thank you for being this week's Harris Real Estate University Superstar. So thank you for your time today.
Thanks for helping, and I want to tell you I adore Coach Rochelle. That girl is second to none. I hope you keep her happy.
Yeah, well, we do. And I'm sure she'll appreciate that and probably ask for a raise. So thank you a lot. I'll really appreciate that, Vicki.
Thanks. Bye, Tim. Bye, Julie.
Bye. Have a great weekend. Thanks, everybody.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.